the mind works best with contrast. So if you just know all the things that you don't want to do, maybe that's a good starting point.
Activities. Whose jobs have you wanted and why?
What are the tasks that you want to do all day long? Welcome to the Answer the Call podcast, where we help Christians discern what they feel called to do and practically land a job that's aligned with it. Audrey, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
I'm good. I am really excited to talk about the 8 questions to unlock career clarity because I realized this is, I think, based on the numbers, our audience's favorite topic. It's just like career clarity help. So I'm just going to do 1,000 more episodes on that.
Yeah.
So I realized that I was really impacted by this quote from Tony Robbins, which is the quality of your life depends on the quality of the questions that you ask yourself. That resonated with me at the time several years ago when I heard it, and it still does today. So I know that you and I continually over the last, 7 years that I've been doing this, have focused on just asking our clients better questions to get better results. Because a lot of people come to us and they say, I've already been reflecting and journaling and praying for quite some time, and I still am not completely clear on what to do with my career, and I'm still dissatisfied with where I'm at. So we're already expecting that you've been asking yourself questions like, what do I like doing? What am I good at? What jobs interest me? If money weren't an object, what would I do? And while these can be helpful, there's a reason why you clicked on this podcast, because you still don't know what you want to do with this wild and precious life. Homage to Mary Oliver. I love that, like, very cheesy, but good line.
Mm-hmm.
And so after helping hundreds of Christians through our career coaching practice land jobs that they really found out, this is the one for me and I want it, and let's do it. Here are the questions that we recommend you ask yourself instead. The first of these 3 is they're all friends. Let's like group these first three together. The first being, what tasks would you like to spend the majority of your day doing? We've talked about this before. I really wish that people asked themselves and thought about their career clarity and more in terms of what are the tasks that you want to do all day long, because that is your job. That's literally your job. It's not who you're helping and why, it's the tasks that you're doing. I recently had somebody that I connected with say, oh my gosh, your job must be so fulfilling just to realize all the lives that you're changing. And it is. It so is. Audrey, I know that you and I talk about that all the time. Like, we recently texted right after, wait, that was 2 days ago. Yeah, right after one of our group coaching calls ended with our community of clients. We were like, how is this our job? It is so awesome. But I honestly, and I want to hear your perspective on this, Audrey, I don't think I would be able to do all the hard work to get to that once in a while moment where somebody says, oh my gosh, yeah, this changed my life, if I didn't like the tasks themselves. Honestly, all the hard work, it's kind of romantic to say, oh, I'll do anything. It'll all be worth it if I just change one person's life. I used to say things like that until somebody said, is that really true?
Hmm.
And I was
Wow.
like, no, I don't think that if one person when I was like 20 something said, you changed my life, I would be filled up in meaning in
For the
my
rest of
career
the time.
forever. That's
Yeah.
just unrealistic.
Mm-hmm.
So I would submit that you have to enjoy the work itself to get to the point where you're excellent enough to change somebody's life. What would
Mm-hmm.
you say, Audrey?
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. And I think I talk about this a lot with clients about how you can love the mission because people are obsessed with company mission statements or working for a nonprofit because they have a good mission, which is great. But if that mission is not going to drive your everyday, and you're honestly just lying to yourself if you think that it is. Like, get
Yeah.
real with yourself. I think about when I worked for a big tech company and the technology was it's changing people's lives. It's the technology behind iPhones. Like, it's cool. I hated my job. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was really honest. I hated what I was doing every day. I didn't like the tasks. So I did not care about the mission at all. And it was a nice little story that I sold to myself coming out of college. It's the nice story that I sold to them in the interview because I genuinely believed it. I believe that's how a job works. You love the mission, then you'll figure out what you're doing on a day to day. That wore out very quickly. And I'm sure if you're listening to this episode, you're recognizing, or you've already recognized, it's wearing out for you too. And it doesn't matter if you're directly connected to the mission in your job or if you're further away from the mission, it's still about the tasks that you're doing every single day.
I'm going to even be so bold to say that I think this is where Christian excellence goes to die,
Oh,
where Christians are wanting to serve the Lord, do something with all their heart. That's biblical. That's really good. But they look to just, I want to work for an inspiring company that has a, like you're saying, inspire a mission that this fictional person, like the Christian in this example, deems as quote meaningful. Though I would say all everyday work is meaningful, and because you just are focused on your boss's boss, like CEO, having something inspiring to say in your company mission, you maybe like stick around in a job in the accounting department because you're like, I work for Charity Water and I love that in some way I'm helping um, uh, people in without access to clean water get clean water. And that is awesome. That genuinely is. But if you, as a person, if I went up and asked you, but do you like your job in accounting? And you said, no, I'm really not about it. But I stick around for like our huge gala every year where I get to see all the testimonials of what's happened as a result of our organization. Are you going to be the best accountant that you could possibly be? If every single day you're like, "Ugh, couldn't care less about these individual tasks that I have to do." Or is somebody who's like, I don't know, I was just as happy working for SAP that I am for Charity Water, but I love accounting itself. And I go deep into technical accounting rules. I love solving the problems that I'm tasked to solve. I eagerly do my continuing professional education courses. I love my identity as an exceptional accountant. I want to be a CFO one day. That person will whip the mission
mm-hmm.
oriented person, I think, all day long.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think they will whip them so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And so I say, like, find an actual function in the workforce that you really, really dig. And while mission is awesome, um, I think that your mission should be to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, spirit, all the things, and work for the Lord, not for human masters, not for your CEO who has something really special to say that inspires you, but rather for the Lord. And the Lord sees everything that you do, your responses to your emails, your how often your yes means yes,
Mm-hmm.
all of that. And so do your work with all your heart. Like that's what it says in Colossians 3:23. Uh, like the work itself. So that's why we suggest question one. Wow, I promise I'll move faster. Ask yourself, what tasks would you like to spend the majority of your day doing? And the second two questions, or the second and third questions that are grouped with this, just to phrase it in a different way, perhaps this will help you get even deeper insights, is ask yourself, what tasks energize you versus what tasks drain you? Because you might have it really top of mind, all the things that you hate doing. That's fine. Start there. And then we often, the mind works best with contrast. So if you just know all the things that you don't want to do, maybe that's a good starting point. And then on the other side of the piece of paper, you could start saying, well, what's the opposite of this? If I did that, would that energize me? Then you could start getting more positive in terms of the things that you really like doing, comparing that to the things that you super don't. And then third, you could ask yourself, if you could write, I love, Audrey, this was your question. I love
Mm-hmm.
this one. And we actually ask our clients to do this all the time. If you could write your ideal job responsibilities, what would they be? Like write your own job description. Do you want to kick it off with the next section of questions with number four?
Yes. Yes. So number 4, one of my favorite activities. Whose jobs have you wanted and why? So we call this our
We're like,
career
what do we call
hero.
it? Career hero exercise. Yeah.
Like dream career line? No, career hero. So this can be people that you've um, seen online or people that you know personally. It doesn't have to be people that you know personally, but create a list and share what facets you're interested about in each job. And I know when I've done this in the past, they don't really seem to make sense. It's like, okay, I like this person, but then there are general themes and concepts that you can draw from all of the jobs, most of the jobs, some of the jobs. It'll give you something to start out with, and
Mhm.
just an understanding more about how can you become the kind of person who has the job that you want.
Exactly. Exactly. And to connect it to the prior questions, you could ask yourself if you know, when you ask yourself whose job have you wanted and why, this can be people that you know personally or have just seen online. And so, depending on your level of familiarity with them, just ask yourself, even if you don't know them, what do I think their day looks like? What do I think they do all day? And what do I like about that? What draws me to that potential career path, or what draws me to them as a professional that I think does something really cool. And that's where you could pull in the themes of like, okay, how were my answers similar and dissimilar across each of those people that I said I have gotten a little jealous about their job.
Mm.
And I'll say this actually was, I had a hard time answering some of the first three questions when I was 24 and going through my own like big quarter life crisis. Um, that eventually led me to start the college career. Those questions didn't resonate with me as much. This one did. Like, I found people that when I was watching this one girl's TED talk, I mentioned this in my own TED talk that um, when I saw her job title and her talk, I was like, I want her job. I want her life. I want to be her. I don't care how creepy that sounds. I am now you. and, um, and that was kind of a North Star for me, that I was just like, oh, okay, if I want her job and her life so badly, that means that I now am pursuing career coaching. And I can't really think of a job right now that I want more. So I'm just going to go all in on this. And that was a thing for me because, yeah, and I'll share a little bit more context as when we talk about the other questions. Some of these latter questions, maybe those are the ones for you. They weren't the ones for me, but that's why we're sharing like quite a few, 8 in this episode, because some you're going to be like, yeah, I heard it before, or like, yeah, whatever, or like, okay, that's nice. And one is going to be like, oh my gosh, that is it. And that's different for everybody.
Mhm.
So, what's number 5, Audrey?
Going along with looking at those jobs. So for each of these jobs that you've already considered, or just jobs you've considered in general, what is drawing you to the job? But also, what concerns do you have about this position and what do you wish were different or better about them? I always like to encourage people to just brain dump all of the concerns. Don't filter yourself, write them all out, and then take each concern and translate that directly into a question. So, I'm concerned that this job has really weird hours, that I'm going to have to work at night or on the weekends. You can translate that into what does a typical week in the life look like for this kind of job? How many weird hours are there? How many hours outside of 9 to 5 are there? What does a month look like? Things like that. So translate each concern into a question so you can actually gather evidence to see if your concern is viable or not, or if it's something that you even care about long term.
100%. Especially those like, I I don't think there's any money to be made in this job.
Mm-hmm.
Is that really true? Because I thought that back in the day, and but I don't think that now. You know, there's
Mm-hmm.
a reason why. Again, sorry, bleh, in my TED talk, I talk about my sister as like a perfect example for this, because people thought there's no way that you could make high performance mindset coaching for ballet dancers a job. She made $100,000 last year, okay? So, like, sit down.
That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all are pals now, Audrey. You should, like, talk to her about this. I just think, like, because I know y'all are gonna hang out tonight.
Yeah.
I just think it's so, like, you can't tell me that you can't make up your own job and make money at it.
Yeah.
Like, you can't tell me that.
Yeah, it's been interesting being in my position now where I tell people about my job, people that I meet. They're like, oh, and that's a full-time job? I'm like, of
Yeah,
course it is.
100.
What do you think I'm doing over here? Also, it's more than a full-time job.
Yeah, shut your mouth.
Yeah, we see people. I was thinking about this today actually, because I get notifications when people download our free resources from the website. Plug. People are downloading that resource every single day. People are out there who need help, but
Yeah,
we would not be in a position to help them if you didn't 7 years ago. 7 years ago?
yeah.
Well,
Well, we should have
going on
like a
8?
little Jubilee year birthday party for the cult career. It's gonna be April the 13th.
Fun. Oh my
Her,
gosh,
her
fun.
birthday.
So fun. So coming up on 8 years, we wouldn't be able to serve these people
No,
now.
7 years. No,
7 years, sorry.
yeah.
um, if you didn't believe that there was money to be made doing this, because you need to make money. At the end of the day, like, believe us, we know you need to make money with your job.
Yeah. And
Even
that's not a
earlier, Kelsey
problem.
and I were having a conversation. I was like, good thing you're the business owner, because I was like, we can do that for free. And she's like, no, we
Yeah,
can't.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I that's a whole separate topic that I'm very passionate about.
Making.
Christian work doesn't mean it's free.
Yes. Yes.
100%.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Should we move on to question 6?
Question
Oh,
6.
this was yours. You have to talk
Yeah.
about this.
One of my favorites to talk about with people. How are you uniquely designed to serve those around you? Because ultimately, our careers are an opportunity to serve people. And you have really helped me kind of put words to this as well, where we see it a lot with people and we work with people through this of that what they're looking to get from their career, what lifestyle they want, what they want to do, how they want to feel, all these things, which are important topics to consider. But first and foremost, our jobs are our opportunity to consistently serve people.
Contribute, not consume. Your
Yes.
personal life is for consuming, your job is for contributing.
And I heard this phrase forever ago, short little phrase, create more than you consume. That has been my go-to with so much in my life, like even just getting off social media and not consuming so much in our world, and then coming to my job and saying like, oh, I get to create, I get to contribute. And it's so much more fulfilling than just figuring out how you can consume, or what you can get from a job or people. So in a service job, it doesn't just look like, actively face to face with a customer or a client serving them, or in the missions field or nonprofit work, you're serving your manager by doing tasks for them. You're serving a team by supporting them. You're serving leadership by doing presentations or whatever it is. You're every
Literally
single day.
everything.
Yes, everything that you're doing. And if
Yeah,
you take a service attitude to it, oh my gosh, you're going to be everyone's favorite person.
that's right. Yeah. And I want to not shame anybody who is don't get me wrong. My shadow side is to like shame and be like, please stop just thinking about yourself like in your job. But I want to say with a lot of compassion, I do understand that when you are very, very burnt out and dissatisfied in your career, and maybe you've been going through that for quite some time, it's very, very normal to just want personal comfort and personal satisfaction and gain. That's really normal. So you don't have to be ashamed if when you come to us, you're like, really, I'm just focused on making a better paycheck uh, for less work hours.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really normal. So we understand that just the subconscious mind works in terms of like, first, you want to alleviate immediate frustrations. Then it's because you want immediate relief. Then you want to gain, get the things that you are currently wanting, like the positives. And usually those are mirror images of each other. Then you have to address the fears you have about the future. And after you do that, you could be in a space where you could really, really be aligned with the things and open to the things that are future aspirations for you. So we get that when somebody comes to us who is super burnt out, they're not immediately able always to go into the like highest forgive me like for saying like frequency of like I'm just here to serve. No, I think that you probably need to be served for a little bit and like let us do that for you. We totally get that. But as much as you can, uh, tend to the things that you need, the frustrations that you need immediate relief from. uh, Take care of your current wants as well, and hopefully get to a place where you are filled up as you're going into Monday morning so that you could like give others your best. And I am so grateful and privileged to say, and this wanes, like my job is not always like this, but most of the time, praise the Lord, I am ready for Monday morning to come. I'm already usually like doing some things over the weekend because I am just excited and overflowing with joy for the tasks that I have. And whenever I'm out of alignment with that, that's because I'm taking on something that's like not mine. And so maybe that means I need to delegate or hire or change my structure. And so that again is me consistently tending to my current frustrations and my current wants so that I could stay in the place of future aspirations, which is like the the energy of service and laying down and giving more than I'm receiving and things like that.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
No,
Sorry.
that was
We
good.
can move on to question 7,
Amazing.
which is what kind of advice, tasks, problems, etc. do people come to me for? So, what kind of advice, what do people come to me for in general? What do they want me to do for them? Like, do you excel in um, the, these examples were yours, Audrey. So, I'll kind of let you expound on
Mhm.
like, what are examples of this?
Yeah. Well, I think about our favorite client to reference, Hunter.
Oh my gosh. We gotta give his story a break. I'm obsessed with him.
Well, everybody always came to him for Excel help. And they always needed help or always came to him when they had questions about Excel and how to make things more efficient. And that wasn't actually his job at his last company. It's what he does now. And he loves it, which is amazing. But so what are people like outside of your job description or maybe in your job description? Maybe there's a few things that are ahead of the rest about what people are coming to you for or in your personal life. Like I know in my personal life people come to me for advice a lot. Look at the job that I'm in.
A I wish
And
that was the case. Like this is why I didn't resonate with this question. Or
mhm,
it didn't help me in my own career clarity journey. I resonate with it now because I'm finally doing the thing that I think I'm really good at. Like I have business owners come to me for advice pretty consistently, but I didn't have a business to prove my chops on when I was 24 and asking these big questions. So nobody, I'm sure, like saw me as that aspirational because I wasn't in my light.
mhm,
And so, yeah, this question isn't always a thing that will like get you to where you're meant to be. It might confirm where you're meant to be. But if you're Audrey, this did help you get to where you're meant to be. You're
yeah.
lucky. You were like standing in your light early on.
It was a natural progression of me coming into this job was a natural progression of me stepping into who I already was and who I was being out of work, in work too. Like I formed a lot of personal relationships at my last company, which didn't help me do my job, but it was great. It was fun. So now forming those kinds of relationships in terms of like a client coach relationship is part of my job and a big part of my job.
But it's
And
your job.
yeah, so for me, that got to be a natural progression. And a question like this helped me to realize that. I actually, before this podcast, before we started recording, I was looking back through some of my old work that I did when I was a client and like the prep work and just noticing the themes that came together to align me to this job. So a question like this helped me figure that out. And then another extension of this question is the last one, which is, what do I go out of my way to do? So this kind of going based on what, or referencing what I just said about at my old company, how I went out of my way to form these personal relationships with people. I would have time on my calendar, like, virtual coffees or whatever, because I loved getting to know people and getting to know what was going on in their life outside of just what we were doing, which is not totally honoring to my last company because it's not what they were paying me to do.
Which is fine. So you took responsibility for that and you left.
Mm-hmm.
Like you started planning your exit because
Mm-hmm.
you realized like I can't be the person that they need me to be. And so that's on me.
Mm-hmm.
That's nobody's fault. That's like just my responsibility to go where who I am serves the situation.
Yeah. And going back to Hunter, how he would go out of his way to help people with Excel advice. And great. He realized that's actually something that I want to be doing all day long. I want to be in Excel. I want to be doing this analysis of data in Excel. So bing, bing, boom. I think about other people because this is the question I really like to ask people. And they're like, oh, well, I go out of my way to help those around me. It's like, okay, well, then why is what your job function, how is that not allowing you to help people enough that you feel the need to then wear yourself thin by helping, which is great. I don't want you to stop helping. I just want it to be a core function of your job.
Oh my gosh. I'm realizing this is helping me with my own career clarity as well, just to like make sense of how I am and where I'm at, even as we're talking about this, which is so funny. I'm realizing you will hop on, like when you were talking about what you would go out of your way to do, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm the opposite. I, there was a time in my life where I feel like really starved for connection. So I would go out of my way to like have a meaningful conversation. And that led me to coaching. And then there was a time where I was going out of my way to just like get off of meetings so I can create more business infrastructure by myself, like big lone wolf. And so that that is so funny. And it makes total sense why like I think the ultimate fruition of the business was always meant to be like a team
Mhm.
where people like you don't really love all the like business infrastructure stuff. You're not going out of your way to like listen to business podcasts like I do every single day of my life. Um, but uh, I am, so that's why. What I are you the? Am I the sea anemone and you're Nemo?
I don't get the SpongeBob. Or no, it's not
No,
SpongeBob.
you're kidding me. It's
I
Finding Nemo, Audrey.
thought it was a SpongeBob reference. It's like I don't even know where to start with that one.
No, no,
You're
no,
the sea
no.
anemone, and
Sea
I'm
anemone.
Nemo.
Yeah, you get to be the cute one. You're Nemo.
Is the sea anemone thing the stingy thing?
Yeah, it's a symbiotic relationship.
Oh, I was like, you're not stinging me.
It's a symbiotic relationship.
Okay.
That's because yes, I learned about that. That was like the one takeaway from my homeschool science class is that there's like parasitic relationships, and
Yes.
then there's symbiotic, and then there's like some other ones, and then it was just a whole other bunch of stuff about how like evolution isn't real.
Classic.
Classic homeschool move.
My
Anyway,
my symbiotic relationship knowledge from public school was a YouTube video of a hippo. And I think there's like an animal that lives on the hippo. And neither one are hurt. Oh wait, no, that wouldn't be symbiotic because it's symbiotic is when neither one are hurt, but they both benefit from each other.
is the hippo hurt?
I don't think so, but I don't think he benefits from the animal that shot. Or maybe the animal's cleaning him. Maybe that's it.
Are listeners benefiting from this conversation that I led us
100%
into?
no.
No.
But I do
They don't have
want
a
to say,
symbiotic relationship with what we're saying.
come have a symbiotic relationship by being a client.
Yeah,
Um,
actually, because you could keep on asking yourself these questions all day.
mhm.
Smooth, very
Yeah.
smooth. But do you really want to be handling all of your job hunt alone and figuring everything out alone while occasionally being isolated and the thought of feeling crazy? You're not. Let us help you. And let us also enhance and also expedite the process for you to launch you into creating a career this year, creating the career you feel called to. That would be our honor to do. Let's start with a free conversation as early as this week. Go to thecalledcareer.com, schedule your free call with Audrey, and we'll diagnose, if that's the right word, what you're going through, uncover what we think you should be doing instead to achieve. Audrey, can you describe how the first call goes down instead of me? Because you're the actual expert in
Oh my
this.
gosh. Yes, we're going to spend some time. I'll spend some time learning more about your situation and just what's going on, and then picking out the parts that are actually something we can work on together and how we can effectively work through that together, not just continue talking in circles. I want to get you out of the cycle of, I've tried this, but then I get stuck and then I give up and I try to just love my job. And then 3 months later, I try again and then I get stuck. And then 3 months later, that cycle, the way to get out of that cycle is to have somebody else asking you these questions, have another perspective in there that can draw out the important pieces that actually lead to a path forward. And then we'll walk on that path together. So we'll figure out how to do all of that on the first call.
That's right. So you could stop just talking about your desire for change and start doing things to make the change a reality.
Yes.
I have appreciated this conversation with you, Audrey. By the way, everybody, we're now on YouTube. I should have said that at the lead.
Yeah.
You can now see our faces.
Oh my gosh, I forgot.
Yeah. Actually, it serves both of us for you to forget, because I think you have some like around like being on camera. So for Audrey, for all intents and purposes, for Audrey, this is still a podcast.
Yes.
For a listener, this is now a video podcast that you can see on YouTube and enjoy over there. You can find us at The Called Career. Hopefully that's not confusing. It is not a channel titled Answer the Call. It's titled The Called Career. Is another rebranding in our future? Maybe, but see you next week, where we'll actually talk about how to take these warm, fuzzy insights that you received from these questions in this episode and turn it into a real job title and find out what is the specific industry, niche, job title, role title, blah, 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 that matches the vision that came through by way of these questions. We'll see you then. Thanks for listening to today's episode. To get an even more meaningful head start into your calling, head to thecalledcareer.com, where my fellow career coach Audrey and I have created a whole suite of free resources and tools to help you get clear and get a job today. For those who are definitely ready to land a job or start a business in the next 6 to 12 months, we're here to help you biblically and practically discern your calling through coaching, reflection, and deep market research. Identify the job that's aligned with it, even if you currently have no idea what you want. Rebrand your resume and LinkedIn to translate your background to appeal to your future boss. P.S. We take this off your plate and do this for you. Also, we'll teach you how to land referrals and get attention from leadership through networking. Again, if that makes you nervous, we have these emails and LinkedIn messages literally written for you, so you don't have to sweat. We're also here to give you unlimited interview practice, so you're prepared to address every elephant in the room and knock selling yourself out of the park. Then we'll round out with helping you negotiate your salary so you land thousands more. Just so you know, recent clients have gotten $8,000 to $50,000 salary increases, even though they were totally non-traditional candidates. That's because we specialize in helping non-traditional career pivoters land jobs they're ecstatic to serve in. It takes work, but we're here to see you through until the end, when we're celebrating that day that you send me an email in all caps and you say, "Kelsey, I got the job." Then you could be on the podcast. But I'll be here until then, keeping you accountable and encouraged by meeting with you literally until you land the job you want, even if that's up to 6 months from now within our program. Apply to join at thecalledcareer.com, and I'll see you next week here at Answer the Call. Bye for now.